we have to use. And these competencies are used in TAFEs and similar training all over Australia. So it doesn't matter what state you're in, they're recognised. Okay, now what we're covering in this this course is starting off with work safety. So that, of course, computers are slightly dangerous in that they work by electricity. So that's the main danger that we'll look at. We're going to look at installing computers and peripherals. We're going to look at maintaining computer hardware and how you choose and install the right equipment for your job. Okay, this is just from the competencies. It's designed for people working in ICT, and it's sort of base level entry into IT. So normally you'd be working supervised. Ty and myself are the teachers, and so we've both got 2 prac classes each, and I'll just do the theory every Tuesday morning online like this. A lot of the time we'll need to be at Reed at one of the computer labs for the practical classes, but there's no prac this week. We're preparing to do pracs, so we're looking at safety mainly this week, and we'll do a prac next week. So we'll be in at Reed at either the D108 lab or the D223 lab. It'll be on your timetable which one you're in. Okay, this is the book we use. It costs a bit over $100. The price varies depending on the exchange rate. It's a US book, USA, and it's a very good book. It follows the CompT IA A+ course, which is an American version of IT training courses, which are pretty well world renowned. So it's sort of benchmark training. Now, you don't have to buy the book, it's expensive, but if you can afford it, I would have it and put it in your library and use it when you need to. And it covers hardware basics and operating systems basics. And it's a good reference to have. And the good thing about textbooks is that they're good for learning. They're written for learning. So it's the first place I go to look for information often. Of course, you can go to the net and look stuff up, the internet, but sometimes it's not written from the point of view of learning, just more giving you information. If you're buying the book, it's available from the Sitzer Bookshop in at Reed, bottom floor of D Block, and you won't find it any cheaper, I don't think, than the bookshop. They give you some sort of student discount. You can also buy an e-book version, so you need a device to run that, and that's cheaper. That's about $60, and you order that online. So just click on that link and you can purchase that. All right. There's some other stuff there. Teacher announcements. I'll send out announcements, or Ty will every now and then. If you are getting bothered by support emails, you can unsubscribe. I would do that. Okay, there's a mistake. There's 2 teacher announcement forums, so one of those is redundant. I'll fix that sometime. Okay, so that's just the introduction. Subject navigation is standard on all the eLearn sites. It just tells you how to navigate your eLearn, how to check your grades, how you contact your teacher. Now, let's just look at that now. At the bottom of the page there, course contact says contact details for Ty and myself. And my message icon isn't showing. Apparently that's just because they don't show it to yourself. So it doesn't readily allow me to message myself. And if you click on that, so there'll be a message icon that you can see. You click on that, you get my profile with a phone number, email address, and another message link there. Okay, so fairly easy to contact me. If you want to ring or text me anytime, that's fine. There's a user tour there. You can have a look at that yourself sometime if you want to. What the standard icons mean. Bit slow. Okay, that's just icons that we use, standard. CIT, Student Services and Support. Click on that link to see what services are offered. Now this hour of theory, I'm going to skip over things that we'll cover in the tutorial session. So hop online at your normal prep class time, and I'll run through and help you go through some of the detail that we skipped through in this theory lesson today. Okay, most important is subject information. Tells us what we're doing this semester. Okay, so hardware basics is the CIT name for the subject. It consists of 2 national competencies. These are the numbers, and you can see the detail if you ever want to on the training.gov.au website. Okay, we're going to care for computer hardware, and we're going to connect internal components. These are the classes, and the CRNs are in pairs, so 84520 goes with 84521, and that's the, so all the classes, that's the theory that I'll cover this time every week, and then you'll be in one of the 4 prac classes, either with Ty or myself, and the rooms and times are there. Okay. Now, most important is the subject guide. So let's see the all the detail. Okay, most important, the assessment. Right, TBA means to be announced. We have to work out dates for this as we go. assessment 1 is due Friday, the 25th of the 2nd, at the end of the day, of course. So that's in, can you see that? I think you can, yeah. Okay, so 15th today, so that's, it's due in a bit over a week, the end of next week, right? So it doesn't take that long to do, but we can start on that today. That's part of the stuff that we'll cover in the tube today. So just covering anything that I skip through in the theory and start working on the assessment, the first assessment. Okay, so now the weekly schedule. Once again, this is a notice at the top here. Please note that the plan will be changing over the semester. So this is just a rough plan at this stage, and we'll develop the, as I put the dates in, I'll be putting more detail and maybe changing things around a bit here. We've only got 13 weeks there, and the course goes for the whole semester, but we're still working out some of the work. Okay. What's the old subject guide doing there? Okay. I need to hide that. So don't worry about that. Okay, any question about what we're doing? Okay, so that's the plan for the semester. So let's get stuck into the first week's work. Okay, so we're theory lesson. I'll do this for every lesson. Let you know what we're doing in the theory and the prac. Okay, so that's described there. It's all online this week. Okay, so let's start, and we're doing the first 3 books. So establish safe work practices when working with computers. Look at location requirements for hardware and peripherals, and establish maintenance practices. So some very important stuff about working with computers. Oops, sorry. I clicked on something. Okay, so let's work through these first books. Now, work health and safety are important in absolutely any industry, and it's covered by legal requirements. So wherever there's a danger at work, you'll find there are laws and regulations that cover that. The Work Health and Safety Act of 2011 is the current law that applies, and we want to reduce injuries, of course. Okay, so let's look at the next page. Okay, so there's national legislation now replacing what used to be a state, different in different states. And together with the codes of practice, that produces a framework for working to. So we want to establish work health and safety procedures, and eliminate or minimise any risk of damage or danger to a person. And when you're working on computers, there's two risks. One's the danger of injuring yourself, and the other is the danger of injuring the computer. So you'll be doing another work health and safety subject, specifically to cover the procedures that relate to worker consultation and just how you organise your work health and safety procedures and meetings and so on to comply with the law. Okay, codes of practice, we'll look at these in a little minute. Okay, there's a lot of reading in what we're covering today, and there's a lot more doing in future weeks. Practicals are most important, of course, where you get your hands on the computer. Okay, and the main risk is the electrical risk in computers. Okay, now this is a learning activity that I'm going to leave for the prac class. So we're going to download the practice, code of practice for electrical risks, and do some work on that. Do some reading and you know, like answer this question, for example, and then you can click on the answer and check it yourself. So we'll do that in the prac session or the tutorial sessions. Okay, now when you buy a computer or any equipment, if there's any hazardous chemicals there, you should look up your material safety data sheet, which tells you the dangers and how you handle the chemicals. For example, we use isopropyl alcohol to clean electrical contacts, and so when we use that, we'll look up the safety sheet to see what the dangers are. It is toxic, like any alcohol. And also the user manuals. Now next week we'll start using user manuals to look for technical information about the computers that we're going to be using in the labs. And right at the beginning of those user manuals, it tells you things like, you know, the sort of conditions that you need to operate your computer in. So, for example, we'll look at, and we'll do this in the shoot today, is we'll look at an example of some user documentation and see what it says about, you know, where you can put things, what are the best locations, what are the best conditions, and things like printers and a lot of electrical equipment give off ozone, which is a toxic gas, and so you need proper ventilation and things like that. So very important safety information. So we'll look at that detail in the shoots today, and there's one tomorrow too. Okay, now some specifics that will be in those user documentations, the manuals. You don't want strong sunlight on electrical equipment, it damages them. That's one thing you don't do is take the computer outside and take it apart. It exposes all the electronic equipment that's sensitive to sunlight. Dust is bad. You're trying to avoid dusty environments. Example there, my friend who owns a produce business. The produce shop is generally a fairly dusty environment, so they need to clean their computers regularly. And dusting the inside of the computer routinely is one of the maintenance jobs. The fans in them draw air with the dust in it, and it collects on equipment, and it can cause components to burn out. Any corrosive gases are a no-no. Temperature extremes, hot, cold or humid conditions. You'll see it listed, and we'll look at this in the manuals to see exactly what temperatures you can work in. And yeah, there's a temperature range for working with any equipment. Even your phone, there'll be a temperature range that it'll work in. Radiation from heaters is not a good idea. Air conditioners and humidifiers. Near locations near other electronic equipment. We'll look at this in the prac next week. The effect of electromagnetic radiation that interferes. So any equipment with moving electrons in it will generate interference. Okay, we'll look at that. It's an important consideration. And especially, say, if you're in a hospital in a where they do X-rays and other scans, you have to be careful not to put your electronic equipment close to that strong source of interference. And also vibration. Okay, and there's some detail there about humidity and ventilation, but of course, in the end, you need to look at your own, the particular, the manual for the particular equipment to see exactly what conditions apply. Okay, if you're selling equipment, you need to provide the right information to your customers, and that's a legal requirement. And once again, that's a task that we can, a learning activity that we can do in the tutorial. Just looking at the detail of where you put things when you set them up. Okay, most important is protecting your body from injury. So lifting and carrying any of the computer equipment or peripherals, some of the sometimes they can be heavy or awkward, and so you don't want to injure your back or you know, a very common injury when you're lifting things, is to hurt your back and cause a chronic, lifelong injury if you're not careful. Handling hazardous substance, so the isopropyl alcohol and other chemicals that we'll use on computers. Working in confined spaces is definitely a problem. So up in the, if you're in the lab with me, the D223 lab, you'll find that sometimes you've got to get under the bench to fix things, and that requires, it's a danger. You just have to be careful not to injure yourself. And actually using the equipment. So anything with power in it's going to be an electrical hazard. Okay, so and once again, this is a task that we can do in the practice today, is look at the detail through these links, managing electrical risks and identifying the hazards. We'll do that in the tute. Okay, risk assessment. So if you walk into one of the labs and do a risk assessment and create a checklist, and we do this as standard procedure. For example, CIT has a work health and safety section, a team of people, and they will come out to the they're experts, they're trained in work health and safety, that's their job, they have qualifications in it, and they'll come and help you create a checklist so that you don't miss any hazards. So we had a fellow go through the labs recently, and one thing he picked up is for us to check that we have residual current devices on our switchboards, which if something shorts out, it cuts out the electricity and protects you from being electrocuted. Okay, so once again, we'll do this in the practice today. We'll go through and look at the detail, the tube today. We'll look at the detail of this. Okay, this lesson's quite dry, but it has to be done. You know, you need to worry about your safety. Okay, some rules when you're in working in computers. So when you come to the laboratory, you've got to wear proper clothes. Now, this is really important. Avoid static build-up on your clothes. So when you rub plastic clothes with wool clothes, sometimes you generate static electricity. And in fact, it just builds up on your skin anyway. I don't know if you've ever opened a car door and heard a little spark, and sometimes even you can see a spark. Okay, that's static electricity that's built up on your clothes or your body. And so I remember a student coming into a class last year, and he would always touch, when he touched metal parts, he would feel static shocks quite often, and it was the clothes he was wearing. So that's something to think about. Don't wear loose-fitting clothes that dangle in the machines. Long hair, for example, tie it back. Okay, you don't want to get caught in the equipment. Unplug your equipment before, so turn it off and unplug it so there's no electricity to it. The only time you need electricity on components is if you're measuring voltages or something like that with a multimeter. And of course you've got to turn it on then, but you have to be careful. Keeping the area neat is a good idea, otherwise you risk damaging things. Be careful not to use damaged parts, so for example if a power supply has got smoke coming out of it, then you don't use it. Okay, now when you're connecting parts, don't force them. And we'll practice this in the computer labs, of course. So typically what people do if they're forcing a part into a computer, often you'll either damage the part or the motherboard that it's going into. Using anti-static wrist straps, we will do that every time we work on computers in the labs. You'll also see in the labs there's anti-static mats. And all they do is they earth the static electricity so it can't damage the, so the electrons go to the earth and not to the equipment. And it's the most common way to destroy a computer is static electricity on the computer chips, the electrical parts. It burns them out. Using the right size screwdrivers and so on. We'll practice that in the lab. Power supplies are very careful. We never open a power supply. So if the power supply is broken, you don't try and fix it. It's too dangerous. It's 240 volts. So the power coming into the computer is just your normal alternating current, 240 volts from the power point. And the power supply converts that into a number of DC voltages, which still electricity, but they're not as powerful as the 240 volts can easily kill a person. So be careful with power supplies, and also screens have got 240 volts, so we don't pull them apart either. Be careful with hot components, they do get hot sometimes, you can burn yourself. Reinstalling, putting things back together, make sure you use the proper size screws. One common problem with laptops, if you're pulling them apart, is that there's covers on the bottom of the laptop to pull off to expose the inside components. And the covers often have different size screws. So you need to make sure you know which screw goes where when you're reassembling it. Yeah, and we'll look at how you do that when we do the practice when we're pulling it apart. Little containers to hold the screws is a good idea. And maybe a diagram to remind you which screws go in which positions. Once again, there's some more work there we can go through in the tube. Okay, so summary of the work health and safety is there's Australian legislation that we've got to know about and conform to. and there's also codes of conduct that help with some of the detail. We're going to look at manufacturers' information about handling the product for safety and so on, and location requirements. And that in any workplace, a risk assessment is essential. And at CIT, we've done that, and we've got a checklist that we've developed and so on. Joe Batista, I'll get used to your names soon. No, they don't sell them at the CIT shop, but we supply them. We've got heaps of them in the labs that you can use. You're dead right. If you want to work at home, you need a wrist strap. If you can pull your computer apart at home, you can buy them from any computer shop or buy them online. Yeah, Jaycar is a good one. Yeah, but really any computer shop should have them. Okay, we'll look at tools and so on in a bit more detail later. Okay, let's keep going. It's got a bit to get through in the hour, and then we'll come back to the detail or anything we didn't finish in the tutorial session. Yeah, as I say, this lesson's a bit dry and boring, I think, but it's got to be done. So locate your equipment in places where you're not exposed to extreme temperatures, humidity, dust, and electromagnetic interference. So that's coming from other electronic equipment. So you separate your equipment as if it's going to interfere with each other. Okay, maintenance requirements. It's good to have a maintenance schedule. So how often are you going to clean the dust out of the computer? Whether you need to have a replacement schedule, so how long are you going to keep your computers? That helps in terms of budgeting too, of course. You know, allowing to replace the computers every so many years. Just so that your computer hardware is always up to date, and it's going to depend on you what sort of work you're doing and your needs. Okay, you might have to conform with your company's risk management policy, particularly in big companies like CIT, for example. You also need to consider warranties and maintenance contracts. So if things are under warranty, you don't pull them apart because then you void your warranty. So everyone needs to know about that. Maintenance contracts. You know, sometimes you can buy a maintenance contract as part of the purchase agreement. We're going to look at documentation next week, most important, in regard to handling and maintenance of the equipment. you've got to worry about now establishing maintenance practice, protect against data threats. So you need to consider what sort of firewall you've got that helps protect against data intrusion, and as well as an antivirus and malware sort of software. So you need to think about that. What particular software you're going to use. You need to keep your all your operating system and drivers up to date. They're often updating Windows with security patches. So make sure you keep it up to date. Make sure your anti-malware software, antivirus stuff is up to date. And make sure you know how to use the stuff properly. And another way of protecting against data threats is to limit the admin privileges, so people can't do things to cause problems with your data. External service agreements are something that some organisations have. For example, at CIT we have purchase agreements for all our photocopiers and scanners. They're multifunction devices. So the company that owns those machines also comes and services them on a regular basis and comes to fix them if we need fixing. All right. That's just more detail on different service agreements. Warranties and maintenance agreements. Gee, that's sort of covered really, isn't it? A lot of the software we get these days is cloud-based, which means that it gets upgraded, often gets upgraded automatically. Documentation, most important. We'll look at this next week when we're playing with the inside of the computers. It'll tell us what maintenance needs to be done, how often you need to dust it out, for example. Sorts of maintenance procedures that we'll need: cleaning, you need the right equipment for cleaning, just general care, how you work the stuff, consumables, things like paper for printers and ink, making adjustments, so minor tweaking of the equipment, where you've got the option to do that, and most important, troubleshooting when things go wrong. We need to, and we'll do some practice on that, fixing broken computers. Also, apart from the documentation, this is very important, apart from the documentation, the manufacturer's or supplier's website will have a lot of other stuff apart from documents there. So software updates, driver updates. We'll look at what drivers are later. Okay, common maintenance tasks. Preventative maintenance, which is keeps your computer equipment going without breaking down. Example of that is cleaning the dust out of the computer. Okay, so monitor, make sure you use the right product for cleaning the screen. You don't want to damage the screen, scratch it. Keyboards, we're going to regularly, excuse me, you can clean the keyboards from, if it's rusty, with just compressed air, same as inside a computer. You use compressed air. We're going to use sanitizing solution, isopropyl alcohol solution to clean the keyboards and desks and computers because of the risk of COVID transmission. So we'll go through those procedures in the lab next week. Printers, cleaning and replacing the cartridges if they're laser printers. We will do that. We've got laser printers in the labs. Printer ink, if it's an ink thing, you need to have replacement cartridges on hand. Paper, make sure you've got a good quality paper to ensure a dust-free environment so you don't need to clean things so much. Glass cleaning, use the right products. Other devices, so if you've got a post-diagnostic test thing, there's other, we'll cover this later, what that is, but it's, the point there is that you might have other equipment that you need to use on some devices. Hard drives, we'll look at a track on working with hard drives. You need to optimize your drive, so there's some procedures that you need to do routinely. For example, defragmentation. We'll look at how you set a computer up to do that automatically, so you don't have to think about it. So it's done routinely. Cleaning your disk up in other ways. There's things, diagnostic tools that you can use, software tools to work out if there's bad sections of the disk that you can't use. There's also third-party software that you can use for doing work on computers, including hard disks. And now, managing your data. So you want to delete unwanted data, that is applications or the data it produces. You need to back up your data because hard disks fail sometimes. You need to clean registers. That's registers contain sort of metadata, if you like. It's not the actual data, it's information about the files. Defragmenting. When you're writing to hard disks, if there's not enough room for the whole file, you end up with bits of the file all over the disk. That's called fragmentation, and it slows your computer down if it's too bad. So there's tools in Windows to fix that. and test it. You need to have a boot disk, so if your computer fails to boot, if something's wrong with the hard disk, you need a way of recovering. Virus and malware programs, and other standard diagnostic tests we'll look at later. Printers require maintenance. They're one of the peripherals that require the most maintenance. So laser printers need cleaning out. The powder sort of spreads through the machine a bit and is very toxic. So you need to handle that with care. Inkjets need their ink replaced fairly often. And just keeping the feed path nice and clean so that you don't get paper jams. Okay, good to have an actual, rather than just randomly maintain your computer and your peripherals. It's good to have a schedule so that you know when to do things before things get too bad. And the main thing is, you're affecting, if the downtime affects an organisation's profitability, their workflow, and so routine preventative maintenance is extremely important. Not just leaving things. Will we cover? Yes, we will cover. Hang on, I'm just missing these chat messages here. I missed that. Sorry, I'm having trouble getting at these. It's not going up and down for me. So I'm having trouble reading this. Sorry, I'm missing that. Yeah, we will cover those issues during the course. Full screen the message. How do I do that? Anyway, I'll just keep going. We're nearly at 10:30. Okay, there's some examples of a maintenance schedule. And there's an activity we'll do later. That's in the activity, so we'll look at that later. Just creating a maintenance schedule. Now I've only covered have I covered everything? Oh. It appears we have. So alright, that'll do for the theory this week. As I said before, the tutorials,